On. We're live here, but we're not ready. I just got back from St. George a few hours ago. Last minute pack up. Nobody's in here yet. They will be. You people in the future. How's it going in the future? Never mind. Don't tell me. I hope I'm just not around. It is October the 3rd, 2025. I have my whole studio in disarray. This will be the last broadcast, probably, hopefully, for a while from the Bat Cave here at Casa de Rawlins, because I, Exmo Joe, I'm going on a mission. Yeah. I'm a little bit late on account of the fact that I had to go get a beverage. I am going to work while talking to you. I had planned to be more well prepared. I apologize to all of the subscribers at Hellfire Agency who are hoping to have more true crime content. I am trying. I have irons in the fire. But the fact of the matter is, this project has really thrown me off my game. And so the content for a while has been, will Joe survive getting out there into the Bible Belt to preach atheism? So we're going to start with an opening hymn just to keep it fresh. And because this is what we do. And we're going to hang out for a couple hours, literally while I charge up devices, load up content, because tomorrow, the 4th of October, I am going up to the conference center in Salt Lake City, Utah, to see if I get my ass arrested street preaching to Mormons. It's the beginning of what we hope will be a successful street preaching tour through the Bible Belt. On my way through to the Bible Belt, I will likely stop at a couple of places. This is let's not play the hymn that we're going to play tomorrow. Let's save that. Let's start out. I've been feeling it with the non-zero chants. It lifts my spirits. I'm not going to be talking a lot about space stuff today. Oh, for crap's sake, I didn't plug in my damn keyboard. But we might talk a few of those things. I need this right now, and maybe you guys do too. So remember that we have a non-zero chance.
From empty pews to reasoned thought, we'll defend our pale blue dot. If the danger's great, but the odds are small, we Korihors will heed the call. True saviors, but not from sin. We have no hope but what's within. We were not born to be heroes. Our chances small, but never zero. Non-zero chance, take to the sky. Against all odds, we will fly
here we are. I said I would go live late on Friday night, and to a fault, I keep my word. And I probably should see somebody about that. How do you like my messy studio? 0 audience. So, if you don't know, Korihors are Korirazy. And we have new shirts people will be able to purchase. And, oh shit. I spilled them. They read, do you overview? Do you? I ask you, friends, do you? I wouldn't blame you if you didn't. There's not much there. But I'm going to demonstrate again because I find there are people who are followers of the Church of Korihor who do not know, who themselves do not know. We Korihors meditate. And we have this meditations called Overview. It's named after the overview effect. Allow me to show you. First, allow me to open it. Okay. Oh, for hell's sake. I didn't plug in my damn keyboard. We do a lot of swearing at the Church of Korihor. One goes to korihor.org. Allow me to pull up a share screen. When one goes to korihor.org, you will see a lot of rad stuff. Okay. Now, this is what it looks like on a desktop. The mobile looks almost exactly the same. You're going to notice that there is here at the top are 2 most popular buttons, besides those people who log in because they are contributors to Church of Korihor. You guys rock. And one of them is Overview. Overview is a meditation practice named after the overview effect, which is the experience that astronauts have looking down on Earth from space. It does take a moment for the app to load. Be patient. That's part of it. Now, once the app loads, you're going to see this screen that says status. And you are going to drag the indicator to the color that indicates how you feel in this moment and how you want to feel in the next moment, or how you want to be in the next moment, if you will. If you want to wind up, you lift up. If you want to wind down, like going down for sleep or contemplation, inner child work, etc., then you pull down. If you are feeling high anxiety, like I am now, you pull further to the right. And if you're feeling low anxiety, tranquil, peaceful, chill, then you pull to the left. Okay? So you pick a status. Now, once you have picked a status, it will load the player, and it will load this reload button that takes you back to that screen in case you're like, nah, that's not what I wanted. Okay? But let's say that I picked Insight here. Okay? And it pulls up automatically the most recent meditation session, which is Solar Maypole. This is the only meditation session that's on there currently. And frankly, it kind of needs work. I understand that, but I am only one person and I am still working on it. As there are more sessions available, they will populate here at the bottom of the screen, and you'll be able to filter them by voice and by length of the session. And eventually, once we get it working and have enough sessions for it to be worthwhile, you'll be able to filter it by subject or tags. So these are all in development. That's why it's in beta. But we are opening it up to the whole world and giving it in its broken, not yet complete form to the world to play with, and asking people, please be patient with us and support us as we try to make this program work. The thing is, meditation is really good for us, all of us, not just atheists and agnostics, but atheists and agnostics especially are in dire need of good ways to support our mental health and our emotional well-being. So this is when I say, do you overview? I am talking about this. This is our app. I'm going to go ahead and remove it. So this is how we are, where we are. And so I decided a while ago, hello, and we had a Rudy. Hello, Rudy. I don't show you as being here still, but all right. But welcome. Hopefully you're still here, and if not, welcome back. All right. I need to open this up somehow. Anyways, that's not great. I wanted to go live to talk about my preparations for tomorrow. Stop sharing. This is not working out great. Okay, that's better. Woo! I decided, amongst all the things that I was doing to get ready for the trip that starts in a few hours, I wouldn't actually get a projector for now. And instead, what I am planning to do is to use, I have commandeered my iPad that my 10-year-old has had for 5 years now in his sensory room. I have managed to replace it with his sister's old Samsung Galaxy tablet to see if he notices. He will. But I had a very nice iPad. It's an old one by today's standards, but I don't care. It means that while I'm living out of the van, I'll have entertainment. Or more importantly than that, it means that tomorrow I'll be able to play the new hymn for our Mormon brothers and sisters. This is going to sound weird to those of you who haven't been here and part of this. If you didn't know, where have you been? Last Sunday, a man by the name of Thomas Jake Sanford drove his pickup truck into an LDS meeting house, a Mormon meeting house in Grand Blanc Township, Michigan. He killed 4 people. He had gasoline and he set the building on fire. He completely demolished the building. And then his life was taken by law enforcement about 10 minutes later. And it's been a great tragedy in the Mormon community. And I have personally felt it. I know a lot of people in the Church of Korihors who are ex-Mormons, which at this point is pretty much all of us. We all have felt it. And rather than shying away from it, our new thing is, after all, we do have a meditation app specifically for this. Our new thing is, well, we're not shying away from it. We're leading into it. We're feeling things. And I've been practicing this for a while, trying to do better. Nobody's perfect at it, I think, but I certainly am trying to do better at it. And so I said, well, it just so happens that I am planning to spend the month of October traveling. I committed to go and see my partner who lives in Virginia, and also to give my wife and kids a break from me as we finalize our divorce. And it's been a trying and emotional time for me. A lot of very raw feelings. But it's been good somewhere. It's weird because it's kind of one of these situations where you're like, I either don't feel anything or I feel only bad things most of the day. But underneath it all, I feel like something good is happening. And I have to trust that when I ask other people, is this a good thing? Is this getting somebody else what they want? Is this helping me? It's kind of like that feeling. You ever been like really injured, like you dislocated an elbow or something, so and you're just like not comprehending your injury, and you wind up walking up to somebody and saying, am I okay? Like, would you look at me? Do I look okay? That's kind of how I feel all the time. And I decided yesterday, seeing as I needed a shirt for street preaching about overview, and some more some more shirts I'll be showing as I travel. And my sister has a business where she makes t-shirts and makes custom merch for businesses, including for the Church of Korihors down in St. George. I went down there to see her and decided, well, and since she is my parents' caretaker as well, I decided that I'd spend a day with my parents. And so that's where I've been. And it's been a little bit hectic getting down there and getting back here, so that in 11 hours, I can be up in Salt Lake City preaching in front of the LDS Conference Center. What the hell is wrong with me? Something really twisted, because the thing I probably should be even more concerned about is that I am attempting at my very best to, within 48 to 72 hours after that, well, really within 72 hours after that, to be preaching on the streets of Tulsa, Oklahoma. So, what is wrong with me? I just believe in Korihors too much. So yeah. My plan had been to stop at a lot of places on my way through. It became very clear that wasn't practical. And so I'm going to try and stop at a couple of places on my way back through, and then hit everybody on the flip side after I come back, and give my wife a break in November. And then my plan is to get back out there in December and do another travel mission. This time, definitely, probably trying to stick to the West Coast, especially if by that point in time we're in the midst of a civil war, which is feeling more and more likely. And frankly, I don't know. Whatever side California, Oregon, and Washington are on, I guess I'm on that one. I don't know. Who knows what's going to happen in this wild, crazy world we live in. So yeah. I want to take a moment to thank all the people who've donated to the Church of Korihors. There have been people who've really stepped up. And in fact, while I'm talking, it's been my intention to get some things done here for the Church of Korihors website, specifically when it comes to donations. As it is now, every donation, oh, never mind, I don't have a keyboard. Every donation has to be manually processed in a way. I mean, like, it automatically processes on the website, but if people get tax receipts, which is a big deal for me, it's important. I don't know if anybody can tell. It's important to me. That all has to be manually done, and I'm trying to get the automation completed for that. Anyway, just bitching about things. I've got, but because of donations to the Church of Korihors, I have a van. I have a very good mattress in the van. I have a very warm comforter, at least I think it is. I'm going to find out here in a few minutes after I get up to go up north, and I'm going to try and get a couple hours shut-eye at least up in the big Salt Lake, up in the big SLC. And my plan is to sleep in the van as much as possible so that I don't have to waste any money on hotel rooms and such. I have a gym membership with Planet Fitness, so I can go to the gym and use the shower. And so that, so that I can try and get fit. That's probably a thing I'm going to try and do. I'm trying to get my head around that. And and try and spend as much time as I can doing overview, doing my meditation, and both for myself and also recording some to populate overview with more sessions while also working full time and trying to remotely help raise my kids. It's been an interesting journey. I don't mean to complain. I hope that you see that I am, oh, what shall we call it? I am overextended. I am in shock. I am putting maximum effort in. And I'm smiling. And I'm hoping that things are going to work out. Thanks to donations to the Church of Korihors, I also have a very good speaker so that I can play hymns on the trail. Let me show you some cool things. Yeah, why not? Why not? So, I have this cool JBL speaker. I'm hoping that it's going to be strong enough. It's one of the things I have to do in the next few hours. Do not judge my messy, messy office. I don't even know how to turn this on yet. But I bought one that was cheap. One of those outdoor Bluetooth ones. I just charged this one up. And but I bought one and said, "Oh, $20. They're all the same, right?" I've made that mistake too many times to have made it this time, but I did. So I bought this one. JBL is obviously a good brand. I'm hopeful that this is it has its own carabiner. I thought it did. That's great. I'm not sure what I'm gonna attach that to, other than probably just attach it to a belt loop. But yeah, so I plan to show the hymns of the Church of Korihors wherever I go, and hopefully maybe show some clips. Usually when I do godless sermons, I show clips from movies, or I do little video presentations that I prepared on my computer, or slides or something. I like to make them kind of fun. And so, I mean, it's definitely better than the street preaching you've seen before, right? I mean, just like people gathering up on the corner and just start shouting, "Jesus loves you and doesn't want you to go to hell. But you are going to hell because Jesus hates you, but Jesus loves you." You know, we live in such interesting times where everything that George Carlin predicted would happen is happening. That's how we're doing. Remember, George Carlin had his bit about the invisible man in the sky. He has 10 things he does not want you to do. And if you do them, you're going to a place of torture and torment and burning and fire and disgust and blah, 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 blah. But he loves you. He loves you, and he needs the money. He made a whole damn world in only 6 days, but he's just shit with money. That's the Jesus that people preach on corners. I'm out here on the corner with maybe you aren't so hot as you think you are, Mr. Man. Not just Jesus. Leave Jesus out of it. Jesus done. I don't know if Jesus never existed. I have my suspicions. It doesn't exist now. And so leave him alone. You know, we got people here in real life who are not doing so hot, and we could be doing better. Part of my mission I'm hoping to be able to have time to do everything I need to do to survive. But also, I plan to go and start knocking on doors. This will be more of a thing in December. when we do our mission. We have an annual mission. Those of you who are new in the future, hello. Called Rapture 2025, or now we're just calling it Rapture because we're going into 2026. It's our first mission we ever created, where we are going out and collecting used, clean blankets and bringing them out to the unsheltered. And we did this as our first mission in 2024, when we were founded, or our founding documents were filed in the state of Utah for the Church of Korihors in December. And it was really, really good. It was myself mainly, and one of our luminaries, Jules Del Sol, an early convert to the church. And now it is, and now we're going. We learned a lot from our first experiment, and now we're going to revamp it. One of the things that I learned from going out onto the streets of Salt Lake City and serving the unsheltered, the number one thing people ask me for, usually in the middle of the night, was hot hands or pocket warmers, especially the 12 hours or more. I think there's one that's even longer than 12 hours. Those little pocket warmers save lives out there on the street. And now that I am going to be living part-time out of my van, I can tell you it's one of the first things that was on my Amazon list, which, by the way, I am putting up on the website as of tonight so that people can support me if you want to. But I'm not trying to ask people to support my survival all the way, but I am pretty much working for the Church of Korihors as one full-time job, while also working a paying job on the side. Well, not on the side. That's my main job. This is my side job, I guess. It's just one that takes a lot of time. You have to be in love with Korihorism to do this, because the money is shit. But I'm not complaining. And people have dig deep to give so that we can keep all the things running. We have this cool app that costs money. We have a website that costs money. We have an address that we maintain here. And all these things cost money. And, I'm happy to put up the dough myself as much as I can. But I am a soon-to-be single dad. So, yeah, it's an interesting time. And I'm hopeful, at least, that in a few hours, I will be up in Salt Lake, at least making an attempt to make peace, because it breaks our hearts to see that our community, and we are part of the Mormon community, whether we like it or not, and we often don't, and they don't either. But we have to mourn with those who mourn right now. And I'm very much concerned that once I get up there, the other street preachers will be people screaming at Mormons about how they're not real Christians. Apparently, one of the regular preachers who likes to protest at the conference center last year brought a pair of sacred undergarments and draped them over a protest sign and did something to them. I don't even know what. So it defiled them in some way. And while that may seem very funny, it's just kind of not. But in addition to that, right now, it's just not the time. And the problem with that is that, especially when it comes to some of these evangelical churches, appropriate really doesn't go into the calculation as to how they choose to protest the church. So I'm hoping to be there to call for peace. I'm hoping to be there to assure people that we mourn with them. And I know that there are people I represent that hymn has become very popular on not only on our YouTube channel but also on TikTok and on Facebook. It's called Broken Brethren. And I can't tell you how many people have messaged me to tell me how they have cried listening to it and how they feel like it really represents the way that they feel right now. All ex-Mormons and even a few never Mormons who really have connected with the message of this thing. And then I will be preaching a live sermon, godless sermon. I've been putting together my notes on that. It's going to be very podunk. I had planned to be so technologically advanced and ready for all of this, but to be blunt, just getting all of the things put together into one vehicle so that I can go and organize it as I go out on the road has been quite the task. But every time that I feel really overwhelmed with this task, I think about how much I have right now to be grateful for, and how the people at the Church of Korihors, and even some who are not, have come together, including some Mormons. Some people from my family have come together to make this mission happen for me. And I'm overwhelmed with gratitude. This has been a very trying and emotional week for me. And I just wanted to go live and get it on record and have people see, because I had planned on having more content ready for you today. But I felt like this was timely and needed and necessary and important that people understand. I feel like we need this. I feel like as a people, far beyond these mountains, we're falling apart. We're losing our minds. I saw how on TikTok, just since I got back on there, if it wasn't bad enough to see all of the people who quit their jobs and sold their homes, their cars, gave up their lives, got snooty on social media with everybody they love because they were going to be raptured last Tuesday, end up having to come back on to cry their eyes out and ask people to please stop teasing them because they lost everything. They lost everything. And this damn Charlie Kirk shooting. And the more that we learn about Tyler Robinson and how plausible it is that we currently live with a law enforcement standard in this country that just says fucking blame anybody. Just to get the public off the backs of our law enforcement, rather than bringing actual perpetrators to justice, while everyone waits for the Epstein files that surely don't exist anymore. It's just like, and then watching ICE disappearing people, seeing protests that they won't cover on the news, where the people are running their cars into the crowd, just running people over, seeing how many people, seeing people losing their jobs, rightfully so, because as an ICE agent, they're out there tackling innocent citizens of this country and throwing them down on the ground and hitting them. And in the midst of all of it, people saying, "We are Charlie Kirk, we are Charlie Kirk," who don't even know anything this man said or represented. And if I tell one of them, "Did you watch that video with him, on Jubilee?" And they say, "What video? Which of his debates did you watch? Which of his videos did you?" Well, I just saw a couple of clips on. I don't fucking care what you have to say about anything. If you only saw a couple of clips of him here or there, you don't know this guy. And people don't have to. They're more in love with him knowing less about him. It's like Jesus, and they're even comparing him to Jesus. They even compare him to Jesus. A few days ago, I was watching as a man got on TikTok. I'm assuming it was originally a TikTok video, and said, "I was thinking today that Charlie Kirk died for our sins," and they just started repeating it over and over again. Charlie Kirk died for our sins. Charlie Kirk died for our sins. I'm just like watching and going, it's like we're living in the madness. I don't know if we are just if we're just suddenly more exposed to it, or if it's just gotten louder, or if they're taking everything else that's happening in the world, just making it quieter. But it just, I feel like we live in the madness now. And then it also exposed some of the things I feel like we knew for a while. I know, for my case, I did know for a while, which is one, how absolutely illiterate so much the average person in this country has been about fascism in the past, and how we are about to pay and are paying a significant price for the fact that people don't know what fascism is, don't know why it was. People don't know why it was that Hitler was bad. I gave a sermon this Sunday because I actually had people comment and answer. When I asked on TikTok, I posted this video saying, "Do you need me to educate you on why Hitler was fucking bad?" And I had people respond with, "That would be great, actually." Are you kidding me right now? Are we that bad? Have we gone that far astray from just basic understanding, basic education? And so I said, well, fuck it. If it's what we need, it's what we need. So I did one sermon so far. I had already done at least one other sermon, Forgetting is Not Forgiving, just about how bad the Holocaust is, and more important, not how bad the Holocaust is, but why it is that resistance was important. And it was important to understand what were the priorities of the resistance during the Shoah, the Jewish Holocaust. And they were stay alive, level 1. They were bear witness. And they were speak out when the time is right. There's no other way. We have to be able to resist in a way that is peaceful and get something democratically changed. I had on our show on Wednesday, forgive me for this, those of you who were triggered by this, which was a lot of people, we had Jacob Isbell on, and Jacob and I have been, somewhat friendly, but at the same time, let it not be forgotten. I disagree with what he said on our show, but the point was to say it, right? The point was to be able to say, these are the things we disagree on, and have a civil conversation about it, and show it's possible to have a conversation without calling for violence on each other. I don't think that Jacob is violent. I hope not, towards people that I love or to people that are important in our lives or in our community or anybody else. I hope that I made it clear that I am not violent towards anyone. But we have to be able to bring, it's not just bringing the tone down on violence. It's a matter of everybody stop and police your area, if you will. Everybody has to stop and check your feelings. And right now, it's going to become more important than ever. And I feel like where once I had a mission for 2 years in Peru to convince Peruvians that Catholicism was bullshit and Mormonism was true because Joseph Smith saw God and Christ. And there is a plan for you. Jesus has a plan for you. Now, my mission is you need to be aware of your feelings. And you need to spend some time with those feelings and let them be real. And especially because right now we have developed these echo chambers that will allow you to, if you stay stuck in your feelings, feeling your feelings but not knowing your feelings, will allow people to slip easily into hate. Already there are people. I was watching Michael Knowles. I watched as much as I could. Michael Knowles on the Daily Wire blaming this Michigan attack on transgender people, as it always has been lately. Everything is blame trans people for everything. As if we don't have enough reasons for the people in our lives to be afraid for the people in our lives who are trans, who are literally fleeing this country, literally running for their lives. And then I had Jacob on, to talk about this. And he said in that interview we did, I hope people will stop and actually read and look at the books that were burned in Germany in 1933. What titles, what books? Some of the books that they were burning were the books that in German were the originators of gender theory and some of the most significant work on understanding what makes people transgender and how gender was as a construct. And then we had Jacob go off on this tangent on our show about how he thinks people who believe that minors should be giving gender affirming care should not have a vote in this country. Talk about, being concerned, having a legitimate concern about democracy. We had a friend of the program come on this program and call it out to our face that they don't want democracy, real democracy. And even when he said, when he very inappropriately and very inaccurately referred to gender affirming care as, quote, hacking pieces off of minor's genitalia. And then Gene and I turned it around on him and said, to explain to us your position on whether or not someone should be able to vote if they practice infant circumcision. And suddenly that started to go off the rails. I mean, maybe we were winning the argument at that point, but did it feel like it? Because it didn't feel like it to me. I said, this is exactly what we need to not be doing. We disagree. We're not going to convince each other right now. A debate is a better place to have a debate. But his point was, okay, so we disagree. Does that mean we need to be violent? I said, okay, if that's the point, then yes, that's a good point. Yeah, we could disagree. We can even call each other out to each other's faces and say, you are a fascist or you are a whatever, commie liberal or whatever. And be able to do that and not turn around and say, let's get these fuckers, right? Right. No, that's right. We need to be able to have conversations, disagree vehemently without anybody calling for violence and without anybody going out and practicing it. My only concern is that the loudest voices are the ones that get heard, and some of the quietest moments are the moments in which people are radicalizing as they listen and they change their minds about the whole history of the world. And suddenly people who were otherwise entirely reasonable start to believe that the earth is flat, that the wrong people lost World War II and the wrong people won World War II, or what have you. That America is not just a police state, which it is, but frankly, that it has fallen under some wicked cabal and everything that led to exactly what we saw in Germany in the 1930s and 40s, which is a saying that gets said too much, has always been getting said too much. You know, there's a standard that said out there that they say, you've already lost the argument if you say that's just like what Hitler did. But the fact of the matter is, that is what Hitler did. I mean, sometimes the thing that needs to be called out is that's what Hitler did, or the things that Hitler fucking did. And now I am trepidatious and nervous going out there. I'm not familiar with that one. I tell you, I've been watching. I spent more time than I'd like to admit walking through an Ace Hardware of all places that had a sportsman section in St. George, looking to buy a decent folding knife. I spent more time than I'd like to looking at long guns, thinking, what's the harm if I just have something to protect myself in the van in case things get crazy? I'm thinking to myself, is it come down to this? I, who have never owned a firearm in my life, sitting here thinking, what if I did? What if I had to protect myself? What if I had to protect the van? What if I had to protect the future of my children? Does the time come? I always said the day comes that I go out and buy firearms, which I don't like having around the house. I think they're dangerous. I mean, obviously they're dangerous, but I think just having them, it's a whole other layer of responsibility. When even I purchase firearms, that's when I've said that is the day when I know, what I greatly fear, that we are in the midst of a civil war, that we have lost this country. And I found myself for the better part of an hour looking at these things and thinking, is it now? Is now the time? And I walked away, and in the end, deciding if it is, I guess I'll just die, because I just can't do it. I can't bring myself to do it. Now we'll see if I wind up getting attacked by a moose or something. From what I understand, the first time that you're living van life or living nomad and a moose attacks your vehicle, that's when you decide to buy a gun. But yeah, so I'm worried. I'm worried, not so much because I'm afraid to die, as that I'm worried about what will happen to my kids if they remember me as having gone out this way. I'd like to believe that they would say or think after I was gone, he went fighting for what he believed in, but it could just be as easily be he went out there knowing it was dangerous and did it anyway. Yeah. So, anyways, it's going to be an exciting time. I know how to run fast. I have a car that runs really well so far. I have a really comfortable bed. I discovered after a lot of anxiety, I finally broke down and looked up how much my medications would cost without insurance, seeing as I'm about to lose my insurance in the divorce, and came to discover my monthly cost of medications is likely to go up from about $20 a month. My wife's insurance is really good, actually. I mean, it's as good as insurance can be, I guess. And to like $60 a month. And so I'm like, well, it's not so bad. I'm just glad that my kids are still covered. And that, we just have to figure a few things out between here and there, between here and finishing the paperwork. So, and, it was an interesting visit with my folks. I went down to, my mom said to me, she said, I love my little, we were talking about her images. I had made fun of some of her Jesus images and she had called me out on it and I apologized. I'm sorry, Mom. I was just a joke. I'm sorry. You know me. I'm snarky and I'm an asshole. All right. There's no excuse. I'm sorry. Okay. And she said, but now I don't know what to do with my wall of brides, which is what she calls the wall where all my sisters' wedding photos and then all of our wedding photos are. And she has the special section for all these brides, including my Molly. And I said, you don't have to change it. She's still my bride. She's still the mother of my children. And frankly, I love her. I'll always love her. And I just looked around the room as she and my dad and my sister looked at me like confused, not confused, but with that pitiful look. And I was like, I don't know what impression you all got about what's going on here, but I still love this person. That doesn't change. It's not enough. And that's true. And I learned that from the Church of Korihors, frankly, talking to people who got divorced. No, I learned that a few years ago when I talked about this before. I did a survey where I asked people whose partners who had left the church or whose partner had left the church, and then what drove them out. And so and I found that with as is often the case in marriages where one person leaves the church and the other one stays in the church, they almost invariably get divorced. And then and most of the cases where somebody left the church, either they were the one who left and then their spouse left the church. and then they stayed together, at least for a while. Or they were the spouse who tried to stay in the church and then were eventually introduced to some kind of material or something and realized how much easier it would be on everybody if they also left the church and then were shocked that they weren't the first one to leave the church, because once they saw it from the outside, they couldn't believe they ever believed it to begin with. As I've said before, we say this, ex-Mormons say this all the time. There's 4 stages of leaving your religion. First, you say, everybody tells lies about my religion, none of it's true. Then you say, okay, there are some things about the church that are true, that are not convenient, but that doesn't mean most of these things are true. They're mostly lies. In stage 3, you say, okay, there are major problems with my church, but I'm the one who's bringing up the curve. And people get stuck in stage 3. It happens all the time. We see people get stuck in stage 3. Then stage 4. 3 to 4. Stage 4, I can't believe I believed any of this shit to begin with. That's how big that jump is. You get to stage 3, you get stuck in stage 3. It could be years and years you're stuck in stage 3. Or it can just be a weekend. It's literally that big of a difference. I know people who went in a solid stage 2, read the CES letter, and then went to quitmormon.org is the first thing afterwards. Like, I had no idea, they say. But the fact of the matter is, then you leave the church, and then what? And a lot of us, pretty much all of us, had to reinvent what our spiritual walk was. And for a lot of us, including myself, who became atheists and agnostics, we started to shun, we started to shirk, we started to balk at the very use of the word spiritual. We hated it. I hated it for years. Don't talk to me about spiritual. People said to me, well, I'm not religious, I'm spiritual. For years I went, ugh, whatever the fuck that means, dude. God, I was a toxic atheist. Because I'd spent, for me, these words all meant Mormon. Be more Mormon. Be more good. And I was sick of it. It was a gut reaction. It wasn't until I learned that healing from that meant allowing myself to be toxic and just look at it and observe it and say, this is me being toxic. Look at the strange things I do and say, and look at the way it made somebody feel. I had my wife and I had been ethical non-monogamous for about 4 years when a woman invited me back to her place after our 3rd date. And I went back to her place, and she was just about the sweetest thing. She's just the sweetest, kindest person. And we were really hitting it off, And I went to her house. She was an ex-Mormon. And I went to her house, and she had Jesus pictures all over her walls. I went, oh no. How many things have I already said to this person that I already feel like I should apologize for? And I was like, until I kind of dropped it into the conversation, said, I didn't realize you were Christian. And she said, well, I'm not really. I just believe in the guy. I believe in the good teachings of the Jesus who's the guy, the historical Jesus, who was brown. My parents will never acknowledge that, but he was a brown guy. And I was like, looking at these pictures going, it does explain the pictures, trying to not let that explain anything about why I'm here. And don't say it. Don't say anything else. And then she's like, you believe that Jesus was a historical figure? Plausible. It's good. Yeah, it's yeah. I mean, it could be. And she's like, "Are you kidding me?" And I'm like, "Look, I don't claim to believe that to know that Jesus wasn't a historical figure. I'm just saying. I find it compelling to know the whole story, and I'm surprised how many people don't. But let's talk about something else. It was so awkward. And she said, "Well, what do you?" And we got into it, and she started sharing with me all of her spiritual, um, all of her feelings about ghosts and living in harmony with the spirits that have departed and gone on. And as I listened to her talk, I realized I think I've been I don't think I've been as open to hearing people when they try to impart to me, to share with me something really tender and sensitive to them that I can't prove didn't happen. I just really don't believe it happened in real life. And it's hurtful to them. And it wasn't until that point that I realized I really need to take a lot deeper dive into what I say. And so I started to be a little more inquisitive. Instead of saying, I don't believe that, I think you probably just did. I think that this was doing the toxic atheist thing. I learned that by being curious and asking, what was that like for you? Why is this significant to you? What do you feel? How did that change you? And getting to know more about that person, I drew closer to them, not just people I was dating, but to people I was friends with, even my siblings. You know, I was speaking of, I had a great opportunity this last couple of days to spend some time with my brother, who I haven't seen in years, frankly. Yeah, who joined Calvary Chapel recently, apparently, within the last couple of years, anyways. No, I think it was this year. And I knew that he was Christian. I knew that he had enjoyed, since he got clean, well, since high school, and then really since he got clean, he really enjoyed the work of Joel Osteen. I tell people all the time, I think Joel Osteen is corrupt. I think Joel Osteen is an idiot. I think Joel Osteen, is, blah, 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 whatever. I've been saying this for years. It's part of my toxicity is still there. And I say, but I don't say it often because he very plausibly actually got my brother off of meth. So I guess I'm grateful for Joel Osteen. And now he's, we had a great conversation, and he got into his car. We had to go down to O'Reilly's because there was a short in the fuse box of my van. And I got into his car, and he was listening to Christian rock, Christian music. And I got into it, and I sat down, I was listening to it, and I started kind of bobbing along. Nice. And then he turned it off. And he goes, were you enjoying that? And I said, yeah. Why did you turn it off? And he's like, why? And I was like, because I don't know if you know this, but I write religious music now. And he goes, you? I said, yeah, for the Church of Korihors. He just kind of scoffed like that. I was like, They're actually pretty good. If you'd like to hear some, he's like, no, thanks. I was like, okay. I said the same to my parents. But I wrote this new hymn as an olive branch to the Mormons to say, to, to say, we mourn with you. We're grieving with you too. And we don't want you to grieve alone. We want you to know that whatever communion there was between us, seriously his loss. Whatever the communion that there was between us doesn't have to be lost. We can grieve together. We can be a part of one community again. Even if it's just for a while. Just to get through this. And I said, if you'd like, I'll play it for you. And they both in unison said, no, thanks. Come on. Isn't that hard? I hear your shit all the time. I mean, come on. It won't kill you. Just give it 2 minutes. 2 minutes. Okay, it's more like 4. Didn't want to hear it. I'm like, okay, well, can I sell you on it a little bit more? Nope. No, we're good. You gotta love them, you know. Well, I have to because they're my family, but they tell on themselves. My mother is the sweetest woman. I actually have a TikTok that went viral. Where I was talking about how when I was 19, my mom took me to Sweet Tomatoes and told me the day that I was going through the temple for the first time and said, I'm not supposed to do this, but I guess I'll have to sin and take the repentance or whatever. But I guess I'm sinning, but I'm doing this, she said, because my first temple experience was so bad. And when I married your father, she said. And I said, I know you've talked about that before. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure I can handle whatever it is. And she said, well, if I'd have been warned in advance, I'd have felt a lot better. And so she's like, so I'm just going to lay out in advance for you what's going to happen. And it was so progressive of her to do that. And since then, I've learned that, like a lot of people, their moms were the ones usually who told them, there's this part of the temple. Now the people don't even have to worry about this. And they would tell us, this is part of the temple. When you first go in, they're going to tell you to take all your clothes off and put this sheet over you that has a hole in it. That's called a shield. There's going to be people there who are going to be reaching under the shield and touching your body. It's not sexual in any ways, but it's going to feel weird. And it was like, oh, really? Okay. Where if I hadn't been warned about that, I think I would have been a little bit weirded out. I mean, I expected it to be weird. I didn't really expect it to be quite like that. Now they don't even have to worry about that anymore. I'm talking to her today. And she's been thinking a lot about Charlie Kirk. And she said, I did see something somebody had posted about Charlie Kirk. Everybody has to have an opinion. Everybody has to have an opinion. I'm like, well, it's quite a bit there to have an opinion about, Mom. But I mean, it's fine if you don't feel like you have one. And she's like, oh, I think he was not as good as people say he was. And I was like, boy, that's that's the truth. I said, it's true about just about anybody, right, Mom? I mean, yeah. But it's definitely true about Charlie Kirk. And I said, but he didn't deserve what came to him, right? And she's like, no, of course not. And she said, but then I have these people in my life who just have to opine with these nasty opinions. And the thing is, you gotta understand, this is just the sweetest little old woman you ever met. I was like, yeah, I get that, Mom. And she said, I just don't want to hear anything if it's going to be mean or if it's going to make me feel low and feel bad. And I was like, once again, it's this moment where this toxic side of me wants to fire up and go, well, you're the problem then, aren't you? But it's my mom. And she is the sweetest woman. He was so mean. He was an asshole. I did say that. I said, here's the thing. He was an asshole. You can find out for yourself, but you don't have to. He was a dick. He was a real asshole. And I said, and frankly, nobody wants to talk anymore right now about all the ways in which he dropped. For years, he dropped clues to the whole world about being in the closet. And if he was in the closet, it makes sense that he was so mean and to who he was mean to. It doesn't make it right, but it makes it make a lot of sense. Nobody can say it now because that's speaking ill of the dead. Which part is the ill? That he was in the closet? Or that he was gay? That he weaponized it? Maybe he wasn't. I don't know. But damn if he didn't drop the signals every chance he got. That Nick Fuentes has been doing it the whole time. And people have been pointing that out. He and Charlie ran in the same circles. It was, in fact, Milo Yiannopoulos, who very recently, that being said, Milo Yiannopoulos will say anything that gets him 2 more minutes of limelight. So just take it with a grain of salt. But it's him that said that he knew for a fact that Charlie Kirk was gay. And Milo is, of course, famously gay. And, and, well, I don't know that he is but some hurt him. And he defended him. Defended them in any of it. And it's him who came out to say, yeah, both Charlie and Nick Fuentes are gay, and anybody who knows them knows that for sure. And they're living in the closet, and it's not good for them. Now, it's also Milo Yiannopoulos who believes that Jesus has cured his gayness and can cure the gayness of absolutely anybody. Okay. Also, that we should be living under a monarchy because it's a natural order. Everything in heaven has to reflect earth. The king and the barons and the aristocracy, the peerage, he should have said, and then our Lord and the angels. And it's like, who's buying this crap, right? But I'll tell you this, there's something very compelling when you look at what Charlie Kirk did while he was alive, because of course he doesn't do anything now. But the number of signals he dropped that he wanted to live life as a proud gay man. He wanted it. He wanted to live out and proud. He just couldn't. Unless I'm wrong. Maybe I'm reading too much into it. It's remarkable that it's remarkable that in 2025 we're not only seeing people listening to AI translations of Hitler's speeches and saying, what exactly was wrong about this guy? And now we have loyalists. Does that word even have a meaning in the thing? That's what they called the people in America who apologized for the king, who were pushing apologetics for kings, saying, oh, well, I mean, maybe we went too far. We don't know how to govern ourselves. God never meant for us to govern ourselves. We have to go to the king. We'll suffer without him. And here you got that they're just enshrining these same principles. and one of my TikToks, which I think I posted this one on YouTube. I posted a video with the of me impersonating. Maybe I have it here of me impersonating King Arthur. Do I have that on my? Do I have it in my drive? No, I don't think so. I have it on my YouTube. I'm gonna look and see if I have it because it's too funny. I didn't put it on here unless it's in my videos and not shorts. I'll pull it up on my phone. It's too funny. Hold on. This is kind of a crazy live stream. If you don't follow me on TikTok, don't bother. I'm probably about to get banned again. But this is oh yeah. This is from Monty Python and the Holy Grail, obviously. Hopefully you'll be able to see it. This is so podunk. Sorry about that.
I order you to be quiet. Yes. I'm king. Well, I'm kings. Well, I'm king. The lady of the lake. The purest shimmering samite held aloft Excalibur from the bosom of the water, signifying by divine providence that I want to carry Excalibur. That is why I'm your king. Listen, strange weapon lying in ponds, distributing swords is no basis for a system of government. Supreme executive power derives from a mandate from the masses, not from some farcical aquatic ceremony. Be quiet. But you can't wield supreme executive power just because some wandering tart threw a sword at you. Saying I was an emperor just because some moistened bitch had come to scimitar at me. Let put me away. Shut up. Will you shut up? Now we see the violence inherited in the system. Shut up. I order you to be quiet.
It always cracks me up. You think sometimes my autistic brain goes, everybody understands all my references all the time. But when I say, now we see the violence inherent in the system, and nobody laughs, I feel sad for you, people. I feel sad for you.
So
this is
white trash name, yes.
Oh, we talked about this before. How in Mormonism, you when you go through the temple for the first time, this is from that same video that took off viral. Men play God. In Mormonism, men play God when they get married in the temple, and women, their bride is coming through the veil. It's the way it's often done. And so they learn their wife's secret new name, where their wife, because they don't see their husband going through, don't have that experience with him, never learn his new name in the temple. And we were always taught that that was because in the last days, there's a special ordinance to raise somebody from the dead so that they could be resurrected in the millennium or at the end of the morning of the first resurrection. And so you had to remember your wife's new name. And that was like a point of contention with a lot of women, especially in the church, that their husband was there and learned their new name at the temple and then couldn't remember it. So I took
trash name.
I took this clip from TED and made it about that. And it says you won't be able to see this probably. It says, point of view, hours winding down the morning of the first resurrection, and Jesus gives you ample opportunities to remember your Mormon wife's new name so that you can call her forth from the grave to be resurrected and receive her eternal reward as the head of your holy harem. Literally, one of the top comments on this was, she's going to become a queen and a priestess unto you. The least you could do is remember her name. Yeah. So yeah, this is it.
White trash name, yes. Tiffany.
No.
Candace.
No.
Don't fuck with me on this. I know this shit.
If you see me fucking with you, I'm not.
All right, speed up. I'm gonna rattle off some names when I hit it. Fucking bust it, okay?
I will tell you.
Got me?
Yeah.
All right, Brandy, Heather, Channing, Brianna, Amber, Sabrina, Melody, Dakota, Sierra, Bandy, Crystal, Samantha, Autumn, Ruby, Taylor, Tara, Tammy, Lauren, Charlene, Chantel, Courtney, Misty, Jenny, Krista, Mindy, Noelle, Shelby, Trina, Reba, Cassandra, Nikki, Kelsey, Shauna, Jolene, Erling, Claudine, Savannah, Casey, Dolly, Kendra, Collie, Chloe, Devin, Emily, fucking Becky.
No.
Wait, was it any one of those names with a Lynn after it?
Yes.
Oh, I got you, motherfucker. I got you. Okay. Brandy Lynn, Heather Lynn,
Tammy Lynn. White trash name. Yes.
I have so much fun with my TikToks. And I have to come on YouTube and be all serious. And so I'm like, let's have some fun. I'm surely going to get kicked off of there. Trump talk is already sending me warnings because I had a video that was marked with hashtag tear the fascists down. Nope. Can't do that. You can't do that.
Ask me the questions, Rick.
Either that or the hashtag got it flagged was 24-hour music festival. I don't know if people know this, but if you go on TikTok or I think just about any app now and look up 24-hour music festival, that's the code word for the protests. They know that they won't get any traction if they put that this is from a protest. The algorithm shuts it down. So they've been marking it as hashtag 24-hour protest. 24-hour music festival. And that's how you get to seeing the protest content. Anyway, I did this one is don't copy your neighbor at the final judgment. This one is on YouTube, I think.
Ask me the questions, Bridgekeeper. I'm not afraid. So lots of to seek the Holy Grail. The questions, Bridgekeeper. I'm not afraid. So Robin of Camelot to seek the Holy Grail. So Camelot.
Is your name?
It is Arthur, king of the prison.
What is your quest?
To seek the Holy Grail.
What is the ass-speak velocity of an unladen swallow?
What do you mean? No European swine. See which bit swine? Well, you have to know these things when you're a king, you know.
Ask me the questions, Bridgekeeper. I'm not afraid.
It's just too much fun. Those are the videos that don't get a lot of views, but fuck it. It's too much fun. We gotta have some fun, or else it's like, what's the point? This is the one that reads. No, this one is on YouTube.
Say hi, Daddy. Say hi, Daddy.
Hi, Daddy.
It says, POV, your patriarchal blessing says that you are from the tribe of Ephraim, like every other Mormon, but your parents bring your resurrected ass to Kolob to actually meet Ephraim, who is now an exalted God.
Whose goddamn white baby is that?
This is your baby, okay? You just like skinty.
That one might be mine. That one right there. I'm not totally
It says, points at a Lamanite.
sure. Just because you name him Darren don't mean he belonged to Darren. But I don't care what this baby's name is. This baby is right-skinned, but not light-skinned. That is a white child. That is Caucasian from the mountains of Caucasus. Say hi, Daddy. Say hi.
Let me tell you about the time.
Anyway, so yeah, don't bother following me on TikTok. I'll probably be off of there pretty soon. Anyways, I am going to finish getting ready because I am not gonna, with any luck, I am not going to see this room again for almost 30 days. So yeah, I'm hoping to make some van life content. I'm hoping to continue with my true crime content, especially now that I am hoping to have some time to be able to work on things. I have to fit in like 8 hours a day of driving now. So starting tomorrow. So at some point tonight, I'm going to have to get some sleep. My wife took advantage of of her last opportunity to go out for a month, to go out to her Friday night karaoke. I know it means a lot to her. I also know that she's the one who told me to get my ass out of this house. So I'm doing it. It took a year, but I'm doing it. And I'm hopeful that the healing that I'm going to be doing over the course of the next 30 days is going to get me a step forward back into my feelings and my ability to feel, so I can better serve the community. That's part of my goal. And I love it. Thanks so much for joining me tonight, you guys. I wish I had more interesting content for you. I am literally exhausted, and I'm waiting for my wife to come home so that I can get my ass into the van and literally tonight drive up and find some safe place to crawl into my van and spend the first hours that I'm going to spend sleeping in my van. And I just came from Walmart, where I bought with the donation somebody had made to the church, that one of our regulars has given to the church. I bought a new comforter, and I'm kind of stoked to try it out. And I'm really excited. So I'm hoping when you guys see me next, it'll be tomorrow. I'm going to shoot for 9:30 a.m. So that I catch people as they're filing in. Don't be surprised. I would say probably keep by your YouTube as of 9 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. I realize that's only 8 a.m. Pacific, whatever. Anyways, but my goal is to be preaching out on these mean streets of Salt Lake City here in about 9 hours. So flash bright, my friends. And don't forget, do you overview? Flash bright, my friends.